Hey everybody, welcome to Midas Letter Low. Today we're having Midas Letter Low.
Yeah, low.
How low can you go? What do you think?
I'm feeling a little low.
You look a little low.
Yeah, down and out.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Well, I think the markets are high.
Maybe they're down today.
That could be, but they might not be.
Oh, I don't feel so good.
You look a little low, Ed. Do you need some
I need to pick me up.
products?
I need to pick me up.
Let's take this show on a whole new level. Whoa!
Look at that.
Look at that.
Oh. Boy,
Now
I'll
we're
tell
talking.
you.
Now we can see what's going on.
What's going on?
I don't know. It's Friday. Justin Trudeau has not resigned.
No, but boy, he's certainly getting a lot of.
He's having so I got a call from the Liberal Party of Canada last night on my phone. They're having a climate change rally at the Danforth Music Hall on Monday night.
Come on.
So this guy's like, can we count on your support at the climate change rally at the Danforth Music Hall? I said, look here, son. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to organize a protest. We're going to come down there and throw tomatoes at the Prime Minister until he resigns. That's what I'm going to do.
Jesus.
So anyways, what are you doing on Monday night? Danforth Music Hall, 6 o'clock. Climate change. I said, fuck climate change. It's time for regime change. Let's have a regime change rally.
Regime change.
And here's our new Prime Minister, Andrew Scheer. Not that I'm convinced that he's just not a different stripe of the same disaster. I mean, politicians being politicians and all. Anyways. Let's see. We should start with a solid, good old look at what the hell is going on in the cannabis space.
What about? Yeah. What about it?
You know what? It's a good thing we started with the low situation, Ed, because the markets are decidedly just off kilter, a tiny smidge.
I want to.
You want to?
Yeah, I'm very, very. Right now, I've got this sort of thesis that I'm sort of developing.
Thesis?
Well, it's a little, it's a strategy.
Not a theory, a thesis.
Thesis.
Like a theory is something that you can casually put forth, like if X, then Y.
Yeah.
But what do you got there? This your theory?
I don't know what that is.
It's a chart of Valens GroWorks.
Oh, yeah. I think the SPX is going to have trouble getting through 2,800. That's what I'm postulating.
So what does that have to do with Valens GroWorks?
Well, there. Here we go. Here we go again. There we go. 280109. Okay.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. It just looks like. You know what else I want to point out? You ever notice when we were back in here the swings? Here we go. This is what I've noticed. Like, when the market got washed out in December, the daily moves.
Where's December? Nobody can see where you're talking. Okay.
There we go.
All right, so that's the Q4
but look at the daily ranges of those candles. Huge. But you notice as we go up, the volatility seems to be wrung out a bit. Like, the daily moves are becoming less and less.
That's the S&P?
Yes.
The daily moves are, okay.
So there's a big, look at some of these ranges in here.
Yeah.
Up big. But then as we get higher and higher,
okay, so what's the theory here?
What does that mean? Well, I think it means that there's big overhead resistance and it's grinding, but it ain't going anywhere. That's the theory. So maybe the next move may be a bit of a down move. Maybe, and we're starting a new month today. And that's always, the monthly thing is a factor. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
I don't know what else to, I can't, you can't say things like,
so we're
this is going to happen.
Depressing note, is that it?
I'm not saying depressing. I'm saying there's been a lot of money made in the last couple of months. Why don't we take some money and put it to the left?
Whew. That sounds depressing.
To the left. Give it to the liberals.
No, they're just going to use it to write free get out of jail cards for their corporate cronies.
Cronies.
Yeah. No
okay,
cronyism.
Well, what's going on today, James?
What's going on today, Ed? Funny you should ask, but today we're going to start the show. Brian Athaide is here from the Green Organic Dutchman. He is the CEO who replaced Rob Anderson. After that, well, of course, Guy Chamberland is going to be here from Tetra Bio-Pharma at 3:40.
Right.
And we're probably going to talk to Todd Harrison of CB1 Capital at 4:10 today. And 4:27, Bloopers. That's, I guess, the Friday afternoon outtakes sort of thing that we never actually outtake.
I'm surprised there are bloopers on our show. You'd think
there's no bloopers.
I think it would just run smoothly.
We are bloopers. Like, basically, we are the bloopers.
It's easy to get bloopers on our show.
Well, it's all blooper after blooper. The bloopers are nonstop. That's why if we took out the bloopers, there'd be no show. So that's why we have to show. Yeah. They're called bloopers.
Why don't we just call it Midas Letter Bloopers?
That's the name of the show. Well, why don't we just call it the bloopers?
The bloopers.
Ed and James blooper. That could be fun. I'm looking at all 4 indexes on my page right now here, and as you can see,
all at the same time. Are they all up today?
Same time. Screw that. Let's have some news. Here's Ricky.
Thanks, James. And here are the headlines moving markets today. Harvest One Cannabis Inc. released its financial and operating results for Q2 2019, reporting a comprehensive loss of 3.32 million Canadian dollars or 2 cents per share. Q2 2019 net revenue for the company was $3.7 million, a sequential increase of 123% over Q1 2019. This increase was primarily attributed to initial recreational load-ins under supply agreements with British Columbia, Ontario, Manitoba, and Saskatchewan. Hill Street Beverage Company has released its financials for the 6-month period ending on December 31st, 2018, reporting a net loss for the period of $11.58 million. The company had a net revenue over the period of $395,356 over the quarter, an increase of 215% since last year. Sol Global Investments Corp. also released their financial results for the 3 and 9 months ending on December 31st, 2018, reporting losses of $59.9 million before taxes in Q3. The company's loss for the 3-month period reportedly occurred primarily due to the depreciation of the Afria shares that the company held and disposed of between the closing date of the LATAM sale transaction on September 27, 2018 and December 31, 2018, plus higher expenses revolving around transaction fees relating to closed and open deals. CB2 Insights, a provider of predictive analytics tools and data-driven software across the cannabis value chain, announced that it has completed its reverse takeover transaction with MVC Technologies, Inc. On February 26, the Canadian Securities Exchange issued its conditional listing approval for the listing of the company's common shares, which are expected to commence trading on March 6 under the ticker CBII. The Flowr Corporation announced the hiring of Canadian chef Brian Reed to develop signature edible cannabis products for the Flowr brand. Chef Reed, a past winner of Iron Chef and Chopped and Victoria's 2011 Chef of the Year, will collaborate closely with Flowr's R&D team to research and develop high-quality edibles. Village Farms International has entered into an agreement with Nature Crisp LLC to form a joint venture for the outdoor cultivation of high CBD hemp and CBD extraction in multiple states across the U.S. The joint venture, Village Fields Hemp, will be 65% owned by Village Farms and 35% owned by Nature Crisp. Nature Crisp is a private, Georgia-based farming operation which grows a diverse range of food and other crops, including hemp, on more than 6,000 acres in the U.S. and Canada. James E. Wagner Cultivation Corporation announced that it has joined the O2CQX Best Market and begins trading today under the symbol JWCAF. And that's your news for today.
Well, lots of news there.
Yeah. JWC now available in the United States. There was quite a bit of excitement in the air around JWC last week.
Yeah.
And what happened?
Nothing.
Nothing.
Like, I think it was down a couple cents yesterday that I saw. Let's take a look. Let's take a look. A lot of people like that stock. You know who really likes it is
Donnie.
Ben.
Oh, yeah?
Ben likes it.
Yeah? Why?
He thinks they've got something that's very unique.
Really? Like what? Marijuana?
Like, okay, enter. Let's see. It's trading.
Enter
there
the dragon.
It's trading. That trades 10,000 shares in the U.S. today. Look at that.
Really?
Wow.
10,000 shares in the U.S.?
Yeah, according to this.
Oh. That's amazing. So anyways, so all of that hype drove a little bit of price action but now it's almost back to, looks like it's trickling back to, well, let's see.
It's 87 cents. Okay, so it shot up to $1 3 or 4 days ago. Trending higher. It's trending higher. There's no question.
Look at this. Look at this. On James's NDI, we got this level of support down here at 74.
Yeah.
Now we've got this. I'm not going to put the line up here. I'm going to put it here.
Okay.
As the new upper resistance line. Does that work for you?
Yeah.
So between that range, 74 and 92, if we pull out the view to 1 year, where are we? We're way down from its all-time high, which is more up here, $1.36. So given that it's been trading in this range, given that this period here, see their sell-off at the end of 2018 actually began in September. They never even got the lift for the legalization date. It just started to sell off right away.
Yeah.
So what do we got now?
There aren't that many shares in this. You know, look. You can say whatever you want. Okay, it's traded between $1.30 and 50 cents, basically.
Yeah.
And it's back and forth a couple times, but seems to be, you know, fine. You know, it's sort of in the middle now of the.
So, but I mean, if we're not completely useless, what are we going to say here? Is this thing going higher? Or is it going lower? Is it going to continue to trade in this narrow range? Or, like, is it a buy? Is it a sell? God damn it, we want to know, Ed. Buy, sell, hold, run away,
why don't you do this? Why don't you buy some?
Buy some.
And then sell some.
And sell some.
And then whatever way it goes from there, you've got both sides on.
Well, you mean sell some?
And buy some.
Buy some. Isn't that kind of like a waste of time?
Like sitting on the fence?
Why don't I just buy none?
Why don't we
sell none?
Why don't we have a segment on our show called "Sitting on the Fence," where we're totally
before or after the bloopers?
Totally non-committal. Totally non-committal.
Non-committal. It could go up.
Say, what are you thinking? I'm not thinking too much.
Might go down.
Might go down.
Could go up.
It could go down.
Could go sideways.
So whatever you say, I say the opposite, and whatever I say, you say the opposite.
So essentially, we render all 90 minutes of our show absolutely useless and a waste of time.
Just totally, sitting on the fence.
Seinfeld?
Sitting on the fence.
No, I think we should take a different approach. I think we should focus on imbuing every 5-minute segment with an actionable investment idea that is clear and unequivocal.
Sure.
Buy, sell, or stay the fuck home.
Well, this chart doesn't give me a lot of. I mean,
You're talking about my chart, not your chart. See? That's my chart.
Okay,
now let's look at your chart.
Okay, my chart.
There's your chart. Whoa! What the hell is going on there?
Here we go.
Woo!
Okay, let's just look at this. You got big support, resistance, and now we're sort of in between.
Huh?
So what do you?
There you go. That's an example of saying absolutely
sitting on the fence. Like there you go, and you got big volume in here.
Yeah.
To match this volume.
Yeah.
And it didn't get it quite as high.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hear good things. The chart is
violins.
Sitting on the fence.
Chickens.
SOF. SOF.
Well,
look at this. That's almost got a nice pattern to it. I like it.
That's true.
All right. Looks like a car. Looks like a car. Look at
the car.
Look at this.
Yeah.
Okay, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
More like a hay wagon.
Okay, let's get some bales of hay in here. Here we go. Look at bales of hay. Let's see. There's a horse here.
Anyways, coming up next in a moment, we will have the CEO of Green Organic Dutchman, Brian Athaide, is here. But first, this little intro piece.
The Green Organic Dutchman Holdings Limited is a publicly traded organic cannabis company with operations focused on medical cannabis markets in Canada, Europe, the Caribbean, and Latin America, as well as the Canadian adult use market. TGOD has a planned capacity of 219,000 kilograms and is building over 1 million square feet of cultivation and processing facilities across Ontario, Quebec, Jamaica, and Denmark. The Green Organic Dutchman Holdings Limited is listed on the TSX under the ticker symbol TGOD.
Brian Athaide, CEO of Green Organic Dutchman, trading on the TSX under the symbol TGOD. Brian, welcome back.
Good afternoon. It's great to be here.
You too. Yeah, good to see you. What's the big mover and shaker in TGOD lately? It's been on a consistent incremental value appreciation journey, which I like to see, and especially independent money managers, or rather institutional money managers, like to see. What's causing this?
We're just getting started. We're focused on delivering our operational plan. So frankly, we're not out there publishing kind of new news every day. We're focused on delivering. And so actually it's a lot of coming up soon. So this quarter we're launching in the medical market in Canada, based on our current facility in Ancaster, and we've got the other 20,000 square foot indoor coming online this quarter as well in the coming month. Next quarter, we'll see the balance of Hamilton come online, and then Valleyfield comes online in the latter part of this year.
Right.
As you saw in our release, we did postpone or push back both of those facilities by a few months to really redesign some of the facility, especially the processing part, based on the learnings we've seen in the industry, to make sure we can get the throughput and more efficiency, would actually increase our capacity. So I'm really excited about that. Things are progressing well in both Europe and Latin America. Our acquisition in Poland is doing well. We're ahead of where we expect it to be. We'll actually publish our fourth quarter and fiscal year results on March 19th. So that'll be our first revenue coming out of Europe.
Any guidance?
And then, no, we don't give guidance.
Okay.
But you'll see the results soon. So we're really excited that we'll
profitable?
Be pre-revenue. It does, yes, actually.
Really? Okay, great.
But it's still small at this point.
Sure. Well, but any profit's a good profit, I say.
But in Canada, we'll have revenue starting this quarter. Still small. We're only going to do a small kind of pilot with 200 patients to start with. More test the pipes, make sure the order, shipping, billing processes are working properly.
Sure.
And then we'll expand our patient count as our production comes online through this year. And then we'll launch in the recreational market in Canada towards the back half of the year.
Okay. I'm looking at your website here on my screen, and you've got all these interesting products that are up on the screen in a testing mode, like the MK Ultra test only, and so that sort of suggests that you've got some. There's the page I'm looking at right there. Is MK Ultra test only. Obviously, these CBD contents are part of the test and not representative of any real product. But why am I seeing all these different products up here? What's that telling us?
So that shows you we're getting ready for our launch, right? So we're actually launching our grower circle in this coming month. We're just waiting for one final Health Canada license for our oils, but expect to get that in March, and then we'll be launching. But actually we've done a lot of consumer work. I mean, as we've talked last time, we're really very much a consumer-focused company, a wellness company, so we're doing a lot of consumer testing across different product forms, especially looking forward to October, when you have the other categories being legalized around vaping, around edibles, around beverages. So we've really been focused a lot on getting the consumer data, finding out what concepts resonate best, what delivery product delivery methods resonate best with consumers. And we've got some great technologies that we've licensed out of the US, which we've talked about before, with Stillwater, the water-soluble cannabinoids that got a kind of 10 to 15 minute onset in beverages.
Oh, okay.
To
so those are turning
Evo
out to
Labs, which has one of the leading vape companies in Colorado as well. We're leveraging that technology on our vape. So, I mean, we're really excited about what's coming.
Sure. Okay. So, looking at your price chart here, you're down from your sort of your highs in the $8 to $10 range, but you've definitely started to demonstrate. If you could put this up on the screen for me, guys, a definite sort of solid progression towards a increase in valuation. There we go. Thank you. So is this kind of like? Is this like the trend, the pattern we're going to see? I mean, is this trend and pattern that we're seeing a result of the results that you're delivering, or is this an anticipation of something that's, still ahead?
I'd say it's representative of the progress we've made towards our business plan.
Right.
So I mean, the decrease you saw in the last quarter of last year, there were several things driving that, right? We had 100 million shares become freely trading in November. We saw the whole market come down, basically based on all the issues the category faced or the industry faced following legalization. And then we had Aurora selling some shares because they were able to sell down to 10% and maintain their 20% offtake. So we had all of those headwinds from a share price standpoint, and then also the tax loss selling. That's all behind us now,
right.
And now we can focus on the fundamentals, right, in terms of really delivering our business plan, starting to sell in Canada, expanding our distribution and sales in Europe, launching into Mexico. Our Jamaica business is also expanding. We're expecting our second store to open imminently, potentially as early as next week.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
okay,
we're really excited.
What kind of market will that be? What will that look like?
So in Jamaica, we have the first store that we opened in Kingston already. It's not really a tourist location,
right.
But the next 4 are all in tourist locations. So the next one will be in Montego Bay. We're looking at Ocho Rios, Falmouth, and Negril.
Right.
And really want to lock up the tourist market there, because we're really selling at a much more premium. In Jamaica, you can buy local weed at kind of $1 a gram, and we're selling for 7 to 10 times that. Right?
Yeah.
But so far it's going really well. We're also expanding our production there, and are developing a field that will actually be creating TGOD branded products for export.
Right.
So we're getting the products with our partner there on a cost plus basis, and then we'll be exporting to Mexico. TGOD branded product from Jamaica.
Wow.
And to other countries in Latin America.
Okay, so is TGOD going to sort of, I've seen a lot of business models where companies are starting to do like cannabis tourism to places like Jamaica. Is that something that TGOD's going to do as well?
Yeah, it is indeed.
Wow.
Now our brand there is called Epican for now. We will launch TGOD later, but we're Epican. And we're working with tour companies setting that up, and actually with resorts as well. To be able to do even delivery, and we've got a vending machine we're testing as well. So all sorts of new and innovative concepts. Don't know exactly which ones will stick and create the biggest growth,
right.
But we want to test all sorts of different types of models, and whichever ones work best, we're going to expand rapidly.
Okay, so then is TGOD's sort of global approach? Is it going to include Europe and Australia and all of that as well at some point?
So we got limited bandwidth to start with. So what we've focused, I mean, Canada's 37 million people. We're focused on Europe and Latin America. So Europe, the population is 20 times the size of Canada, and Latin America is about 18 times that size.
Right.
And we're seeing the fastest progression from a legislative environment in terms of legalization, first in medical and potentially eventually in recreational as well. So I know there is lots going on in Australia and Thailand, some other countries in Asia or South Africa. We're really focused on Europe and Latin America first, and then maybe in 2 years from now we'll start looking beyond that. But our goal is really to dominate the organic segment.
Sure.
Right, we're the only players of scale in organic, and so we want to get that first mover advantage in organic, not just in Canada, but in Europe and Latin America.
Okay, and so what is the sort of market sort of signal that you're getting that makes you so confident and so certain that the organic sort of track is the way to go?
Well, I mean, if you look at our team, we're all consumer products kind of people. So we've done a lot of consumer work in Canada, but we've actually tested, I mean, in about 5 different countries, in different languages, and tested the organic concept, and it really resonates everywhere.
Yeah.
You see it even in the food business, right? Organic is growing much faster than other types of food products. And so we've tested it from smoking. It's very obvious, right? So I mean, if you think about your tomatoes, your cucumbers, you're washing them or peeling them.
Yes.
With weed, no one washes it before they smoke it.
Right.
So you don't want pesticides in there; they become toxic when you burn it. It's very obvious how organic plays there. But when it comes to oils and other value-added products, when you're extracting the cannabinoids, THC or CBD, you're also extracting pesticides. People don't want that. You can remove it in the manufacturing process, but it's better not to start with it.
Right.
So we've looked at against all sorts of organic beverages, organic edibles, and you see it in other categories as well, whether it's granola bars or juices. Organic's a sizable segment. Yeah. And there's a segment of the consumers who really want organic, something that's cleaner, healthier. Yeah. That's what we're focused on.
No, I mean, almost my entire life is organic wherever I can. Obviously, when you go out to a restaurant, that gets a little tougher. That's where I draw the line. But I mean, if I could buy organic cannabis on the Ontario Cannabis Store, I would buy it. But still at this point.
You will soon.
Yeah, exactly. So when will I be able to buy your cannabis on the store?
So we're starting with medical patients first, because we are really medical first.
So I need to become a patient first.
Yes.
I actually already am a patient, and I you know, it's not so much that I need cannabis for my medical condition so badly that I must be a medical patient. It's more like, well, I can pass as a medical patient, and sometimes that's a better way to get the cannabis you want. Yeah. It's not necessarily a fraudulent approach. It's more just a innovative approach, any port in a storm kind of thing. So like right now, there's no cannabis in the Ontario Cannabis Store that's organic?
I think Whistler just got listed in Ontario. Now, whether they're selling their organic products there or not, and when, I'm not sure.
Okay.
And I believe Organigram is listed in Ontario now. Again, only I think 5% of their production is what I've heard is organic.
Yeah.
So I mean, there's no one of scale who can supply the full market with organic, but we expect to be able to do that during this year.
Well, that's exciting to me because you know, I think cannabis, especially of all sort of perishable products, lends itself to an organic audience. So I'm really hopeful to see that pans out for you because I'm just such a big supporter of organics on a conceptual level. So we'll leave it there for now, Brian. That's a great update. I thank you very much, and I wish you the best of luck with your rollout. I can't wait.
Thank you very much.
I'll be
we're really excited.
Now, do you think people still feel a stigma around smoking cannabis? Sean Cookson has this little tidbit to let us fill us in.
If we had just met and I were to tell you that I had been in jail for 100 years, I think you would probably judge me pretty harshly. But if I were to say, whoa, hey, slow down, I didn't do anything, then you would probably call bullshit. Well, that's something similar to what cannabis is going through right now.
I took to the streets to prove my point about the stigma surrounding cannabis by asking one important question. Would you tell your mommy or daddy that you consume it?
I wouldn't tell my parents that I smoked cannabis. She has an old school opinion, and her idea is that if you take one joint, then that's it. You're an addict for life.
No, I wouldn't tell my parents I smoked cannabis. I think they'd just find it really uncomfortable, and they think it's quite a hippie vibe drug, and that I'd be like a waste of space, and I wouldn't do anything ever.
They already know. They don't like it. They're pretty old school. I guess they don't have enough knowledge about it.
I decided to call my own loving and caring mother and come clean about my cannabis use to see what her reaction would be.
Hello?
Hello, Mother.
Who's this?
It's your son, your only son, Sean.
Oh, what do you want?
I just wanted to let you know that I consume cannabis for recreational purposes and also medicinal purposes. How do you feel about that?
Don't ever try and call me again.
Well, that went better than expected.
There's still a lot of stigma out there. There's still a lack of standardization in different products and dosages, and I think that still makes a number of different professionals, as well as people in the general public, uncomfortable. I think the challenge is that cannabis is treated very differently than any other medication, and so you can't go to the pharmacy still to get your cannabis prescription, but you can get everything else. You know, a lot of the guidelines out there don't even understand the difference between THC and CBD, and they just treat cannabis as cannabis, and so there's a lot of unfortunate misinformation still coming from the medical community.
In 2018, an Ipsos Reid poll said that 1 in 6, 16% of Canadian cannabis users say they've been shamed for consuming in public. But most, 59% of users, say they've only consumed cannabis in private.
A lot of patients who come in here who are on the fence, you know, once they come in and they get their questions answered, they realize a lot of their fears diminish. So a lot of my patients come in and say, oh, I don't want to be high or stoned. And as a medical physician, you know, the whole point of prescribing is to not make you feel impaired. If you're impaired, you're actually not taking the appropriate dose or you're on the wrong product. The whole goal here is to maximize function without impairment.
So there's many factors. One is fear.
Let's say you're going on a trip, and you tell them like, yeah, I recreationally smoke weed, or da-da-da-da-da, they could just say, well, you ain't coming in. It's just that stigmatization of weed that gets people all antsy-pantsy, and it all comes back from like the 60s and the 50s.
Misinformation.
I think whatever stigma there remains is probably the result of it being illegal for so many years. Folks over the age of 40, most of them have smoked it anyways, but we grow up with the idea that it inhibits your job performance or your ability to function.
The generational gap.
just from my experience, I know that my parents are very against it just from what they've grown up knowing, but I think that my generation is a little bit more casual about it.
I feel like it's more accepted, and it will along the road hopefully have more advancements as well for medical research and things like that, yeah.
It's no different than any other therapy or any other prescription pill. There's pros and there's cons to it, and you need to get all the factual information to make that decision. Just don't let bias or preconceived notions interfere with your ability to heal, because a lot of people take years and years to come in here, and then when they do get relief, you know, they question why it took them so long. But you know, unfortunately, the stigma for many years has contributed to, you know, such a vast opinion on cannabis.
Take the time, ask questions, do your own research. It takes a lot to change society's views on different topics. But just remember, change starts with you.
And that goes double for mother.
From Midas Letter Live, I'm Sean Cookson.
Ed, you have no qualms about smoking weed in public. And I saw you light one up in the keg the other day.
The keg?
Was it in the keg?
No. Wasn't in the keg.
It was in the other restaurant.
We smoked one outside here.
No.
When they
we
went
have
legal.
no qualms about smoking weed in public, do we? What I like to do is I like to fire up a big cannon, take a deep lungful right across from a cop.
You do?
And then offer it to him.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I can see it in his eyes thinking, God damn it, if only I wasn't working.
Well, take off that badge, bro.
Bro? Yo, bro, take off the badge.
Take out the kitchen and the trash.
Take
out the grab.
Yeah.
Kind of a quiet Friday. I mean, we're going into PDAC, and
PDAC?
Gold got kicked in the...
Did it? Get kicked in the keister going into the PDAC?
Yeah, down $20.
What's it at? Still about 13.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, really?
I don't think so.
That's too bad.
Well, I'll tell you for sure.
I noticed that our beloved AMX has taken it on the chin the last couple days. I'm still a holder. You bought some more.
I bought some today, yeah. I bought some today.
I'm waiting to see what tomorrow brings.
Well, tomorrow's Saturday.
Yeah, I know. But it's still going to bring a day. What kind of day? I don't know.
Yeah, look at this. Gold is $1294.35 on the spot on the front month. The front month.
What does that mean?
Well, it means it's $12.94.
Huh? No shit. $12.94 again. Looking at the large cap index here, let's take a look at which of our companies are performing best and worst in the large caps. Taking it worst today is Aurora Cannabis, down 2.02%, lost 20 cents. Big deal. Almost a non-event.
TGOD's up 8%.
Afria is down 1.83%, and Oxley Cannabis is down 1.28%. Now looking at who's performing the best. At the top of the list, just to coincide with his Midas Letter world premiere appearance, Brian Athaide, CEO, brings a 31-cent price increase on the day. I didn't even see that when I was looking at the chart earlier. Up 8%.
And isn't MedMen trading at around the same price point? Aren't they both around $4?
Yeah. What's your point?
Well, yesterday MedMen was down 30 cents. Today TGOD's up 30 cents.
True.
Interesting.
Hardly.
Not interesting at all.
See, I'm supposed to disagree with whatever you say. You're supposed to disagree with whatever I say. Okay, MedMen's at 397, having not really recovered from that little. If we look down here, right down there, there's that little kick in the keister that it got after it put out those financials, which obviously the market was not that enamored of.
Right.
Would you say that's a fair assessment, Edward?
Well,
wasn't really any trip to Hollywood.
You know, I mean, the revenues are up, but the losses were up commensurately.
The losses were up commensurately. Boy, that's a literal thing. You know, so Ed, have you been drinking today?
I had a Caesar on the train coming in.
Nice.
Yeah.
For breakfast.
Just a little bit of a Wake her upper.
No alcohol.
Day 8, eh?
Day 8.
Wow.
Any day now I'm going to become an absolutely miserable son of a bitch. Just letting you know.
Date.
Date.
D8. Date.
D8. So I was speaking to...
So you think you're going to keep it going?
I'm going for 100 days this time.
What'd you do last time? 5?
4 or 5.
So you want to take it from 4 or 5 to 100, just like that, eh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sheer force of will.
You want to make a bet?
Well, if you make the bet, then it's a guaranteed, because nothing more I hate than losing money.
Well, but I'll only bet you a nickel.
Well, I wouldn't take that bet. It's not worth it. You're not even worth the handshake.
You'd be afraid to lose a nickel?
Oh, no. It's just like...
No, I hear you. If I bet you $1 million, then you wouldn't drink.
Well, exactly. And I'd be up $1 million. Now, there's a good reason not to drink. I think the government should make everybody an offer. Quit smoking and drinking for 10 years, we'll give you $1 million. That would... The number of people who would make that would reduce the health care bill dramatically.
Yeah, and the liquor stores would be out of business.
Liquor stores would be out of business. I don't know. I don't think so, because I think there's like a healthy contingent of the population that would say, oh, fuck $1 million. I don't need $1 million. Give me a goddamn beer. You don't think so?
No.
Why not?
I think a lot of people that can't afford to drink are drinking.
A lot of people who can't afford to drink are drinking. I'm not going to point out the obvious here. If they can't afford to drink, how the hell are they drinking? Because that would just be too, like, I don't know, obvious.
Too obvious. Hey, Weed MD going across here at up 13 cents today at 206. Yeah, that company's got some good fundamentals. Lots of cash.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Keith Merker at the helm.
Yeah. That's true.
There you go.
There you go.
Afria, I can't believe Afria is at 1342, especially after it hit 490 after that wicked report.
Let's look at the market movers on the TSX today, just to give ourselves some perspective.
See what sectors?
See what's going up, what's going down.
Okay.
It's acting a little slow here. Any minute now.
Oh, there it is.
Ooh, I see what's going on here. I actually have to make a quick change. Ooh, I'm screwing things up.
Relic Health gets lots of action. You ever notice that?
Yes. Okay, here's the movers and the shakers. The mamas and the papas, as it were. Bombardier, Canada's favorite corporate welfare case, recipient of $2 billion handout from the Trudeau government. Do you think if you scratch the surface, now we got preferential treatment towards Bombardier, preferential treatment towards SNC Lavelin. Is there a pattern here?
Yeah.
You seen a pattern? Would you call that pattern sort of corruption? So I told you that Justin Trudeau was having a climate change rally on Monday night at 6 p.m. at the Danforth Music Hall.
Right.
We're going to show up and we're going to make it a regime change rally, I think.
Really?
Yeah, I think that would be fun. Anyways, so big trader today on the TSX, Bombardier, B shares 290, up 10 cents, trades range bound. I've never seen it really go too far below $2, never seen it go too far above $2.
If they made a car, would you buy one?
Well, I'd buy one, but I doubt you'd get delivery. You know, Bombardier is still short, 60 TTC cars for the city of Toronto that they committed to delivering by 2017. I think we got 40 of them.
Really?
Yeah. So I'd order one, but I wouldn't have to worry necessarily about paying it because I doubt they could deliver it.
Right.
Would you fly on a Bombardier jet?
I don't know.
Like if it runs out of gas, is the Liberal government going to send up a little fuel plane?
Aren't they electric?
The planes? No, they're not. They're not electric. Anyways, that's the TSX. Look at the only fourth. There was a time when the top 3 traders on the TSX every single day would be cannabis companies.
Not anymore.
Not anymore. Number 4 is where we get into cannabis. Aurora Cannabis.
What's number 1?
8 million shares was Bombardier. We just had this conversation.
Oh, okay.
Village Farms was number 2. Village Farms up to $15.31. What a breakout, eh?
What's that? What's the
VFF? Very fucking frothy. And then there's IM Gold. But that's it. That's it. Let's take a look at
this thing.
TSX Venture Stocks. Even. Top trader, ICO Therapeutics. 11 cents on 9 million shares. Number 2, Albert Mining. 21 cents after we had Andre Lamont on the show yesterday. So that's up, what, 25%?
Yeah, it hit 25. It's down to 21.
Yeah, it was up at 25 today. Opened at 22. It's now at 21.
You know why it's backing off? Because I went in there and dipped my foot in the water. I had to buy some.
It's backing off because you had to buy some?
I paid 22.5.
Oh, and then you sold it?
No, I haven't sold it yet.
You shorted it?
No.
You shorted yourself. 7 Aces Limited. Don't know what they do. What do they do? Hill Street Brewing. There's another. So look at that. The first glimpse of a cannabis company, unless 7 Aces is one, which I haven't heard of. Hill Street Beverages. Beer. 21.5 cents. Relique Health. Boy, that one thing sure has collapsed. Remember Relique Health up at $2.50?
I think it hit 250.
Look at Rosoro Mining coming back out of the doldrums. 10 cents. Rosoro Mining, former owner of the Las Cristinas. Was it Las Cristinas or some deposit in Venezuela? Anyways.
Yeah, Venezuela.
But the point is here, until you get to the CSE, there's very little going on in the terms of the cannabis industry. And the cannabis stocks in general are starting to really level out in terms of volume and price appreciation. Look at, here's Agriflora, still on a march upward. Prevceutical, still wallowing in the gutter at 5 cents. Koyos Beverage, down to 61 cents. That Walmart press release doesn't really seem to be sticking, does it?
Yeah, it was kind of nebulous, wasn't it? Like,
All right, next up I'm going to speak to, let's see, Guy Chamberland, the CEO of Tetra Bio-Pharma.
Tetra Bio-Pharma is a biopharmaceutical company focused on cannabinoid-based drug discovery and development, aimed at bringing drugs and treatments to patients and their healthcare providers. The company has several subsidiaries that are engaged in the development of biopharmaceuticals and natural health products containing cannabis and other medicinal plant-based elements. Tetra Bio-Pharma is listed on the TSX Venture and trades under the ticker symbol TBP.
I guess we'll be speaking to him a little bit later on. Ed, are you the new CEO of Tetra Bio-Pharma? Did you change your name to Guy?
Yeah, I changed my name.
Okay, we're confused out here now. We know it's Friday, but April 1st is ways away. What the hell's going on?
What happened?
I don't know. I assumed that usually we do that. That means
this is a blooper.
That was a blooper. There we're doing live bloopers now. There we go. What?
Okay.
We're starting to write bloopers. Ah, there he is. Okay. Coming in via Skype. Boy. Hi, Guy. How are you? Guy? Is it Guy or Guy?
Very good. Oh.
Good, thank you. Guy. Okay, I apologize for that. So, Guy, it's been a while since we've had you on the show. Have we had you on the show before?
Yes, you had. Twice.
Okay, I apologize. I'm out to lunch here today. So February 18th, you announced that hemp energy drink cans are going to be now available in 59 grocery stores and convenience stores in British Columbia, Alberta, and Saskatchewan. Now, are those cannabis-infused drinks?
No, they're not. They're just hemp protein
hemp
products.
Okay, but so hemp with zero content of CBD, just out of curiosity?
Well, currently, yes. That's based on the current regulations.
Okay.
But it's a product that's approved by Health Canada.
Yeah.
Our marketing approval for it. And the day that CBD becomes legal, well, into a food product, we'll be able to obviously proceed with a partner and create this type of a drink.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, so we're looking at October 17th this year, according to the federal government?
Yeah, if they stay on track, yes.
Yeah. Great. Okay, so tell me, how has Tetra Bio-Pharma been elbowing its way into market share in this crowded cannabis space?
Well, for us, we're I mean, we obviously monitor what happens on the cannabis space, but we're basically behaving and trying to develop all of our products as pharmaceutical drugs. So we work more in the pharmaceutical space. Our raw material is obviously cannabis, and the fact we do clinical trials with cannabis products, I gotta say we kind of spend some time in the cannabis space, but we're more of a pharma than we are of a cannabis company.
I see. So you're basically positioning yourself in stores and on shelves in stores in anticipation of the legalization of cannabis as an ingredient in consumer packaged goods like drinks?
Well, that's our Tetra Natural Health Company. So our Tetra Natural Health Company is a subsidiary of Tetra Pharma, and we created that company to generate some revenues while we're basically investing on the development of cannabinoid drugs. So we're more like a GW Pharma type company, the Tetra Bio-Pharma side, and our Tetra Natural Health division is going to leverage our scientific and regulatory expertise to try and generate revenues under the natural health product and, say, the cannabis regulations for the company.
Oh, interesting. So you say compared to GW Pharma, are you developing pharmaceutical drugs alongside your natural health products?
That's correct. Our main focus is mainly developing drugs. We have several. We have some ocular THC-based eye drops. We have some others with some other cannabinoids as well for treating painful dry eye. We're going after several other ocular diseases. We have a topical product. We have several inhalation products that we're developing for chronic pain, for acute pain, and for breakthrough pains. And these are all going to be products basically for the pain market, approved with a DIN, hopefully, and in other countries approved by the FDA, and same thing in Europe. So we're basically trailblazing behind GW and going to be bringing these drugs to the market and well, hopefully in the coming years.
Sure. Okay, what is your what is the leading flagship sort of drug in development now that will be hitting the market soonest, do you think?
Well, as soonest will probably be a race between two products. What we had called our PP01 product and our PP02 are the first two products that we had planned to bring as drugs to the market. The PP02 product is basically a sustained relief buccal tablet of THC that's designed for going after the opioid sparing market. So that one we're looking at is it's through a special regulatory path in the USA called the 505(b)(2), where we kind of leverage the fact that dronabinol and marinol are recognized as safe drugs in the USA. So kind of piggyback on the regulatory to go faster to the market for a drug approval. So that's going to be one to watch this year, as well as, well, PP01, we had announced earlier this year that we had discovered a mycotoxin impurity in our drug substance, which is basically the cannabis raw material. So now we've been working with Health Canada to kind of define very safe levels, so basically mycotoxin-free cannabis product, and then this program eventually is going to take back off, and basically that's when we'll be completing our clinical development to bring this product as a drug to the market. During the whole time in the last, I guess, 2017, 2018, we completed 4 clinical trials in humans with cannabis or cannabinoid-based drugs, and that's given us a very, very, how can I say, extensive knowledge of the safety, the pharmacokinetics, and the pharmacodynamics of cannabis, how it works in humans, and it led us to filing a patent application so that we've protected new composition of matter, even a fabrication process for one of our drugs. And with that, we're starting to accelerate the development of some of our second generation inhalation. So we're going to be targeting other modes of delivery to kind of replace the smoked, say, cannabis type product. Today we know the difference between, say, a smoked cannabis, a vaporized cannabis, and an oral. So we've been able to generate all of that clinical research. We've also completed our phase 2 trial with the cannabis oils using 3 different ratios, CBD in cancer and non-cancer chronic pain patients. So now we'll be analyzing this data with our partners at McGill and Santé Cannabis, and hopefully we'll get a lot more insight into which ratio of THC is very effective in pain, which will then help us basically continue our other programs in pain development. But we're basically going to remain a pharma that develops pain products based on cannabis or cannabinoid molecule.
Wow, that's incredible. So, as a as somebody who's following in the footsteps of GW Pharma, that suggests you're very well priced right now. Why is the market not sort of giving you the premium that that GW Pharma enjoyed in its developmental stage, in your opinion?
I think one of the probably reasons is when Tetra Bio-Pharma started, it was in 2014, it was as a licensed producer applicant. So a lot of our shareholders probably came in thinking we'd be going down the licensed producer path. And when we took the different turn in about mid-2016, obviously these shareholders, stayed because the price had gone from 5 cents to, I think, over 60 or 70 cents. So they were already seeing a relatively nice pickup. But I think as we move forward, a lot of our shareholders that were early on didn't really understand what we're doing, and they're kind of, watching the LPs go up and wondering probably why we're not going up. And the day we do get close to success with a drug, I think a lot of people are going to be surprised by, the swing that you get when you get close to a drug approval. And we don't have a very good institutional base either, so it's more of a retail stock right now.
Interesting. All right, Guy. Well, that's a great update on the company. I wish you the best of luck, and we're going to continue to monitor Tetra Bio-Pharma. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you very much for having me. It's always a pleasure being with you guys.
Thank you.
I got the chart up here.
So do I.
And did you notice what happened 3 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago when the stock was running?
2nd, and the stock fell out of bed.
Fell out of bed, but on big volume, monster volume.
Yeah.
What do you recall what that was about? Is that an earnings?
Well,
did earnings come out that day? It looks like a kind of an earnings move.
Yeah, actually, it was only 863,000 shares traded that day. I think the candle on the volume the volume indicator looks huge because it doesn't it doesn't trade that much per se. Oh wait, no, sorry, that was 8.9 million. Never mind me. I'll just clue in here any minute. I had my thing on the wrong candle.
Yeah, well, if you put it on the right, you'll know. Especially if that candle's lit.
Yeah, that's right.
So was that an earnings? What was the event that day? Do we know?
We don't. We don't have a February 8th granted. Well, they put out an option package, but that's not.
Oh, that's
after the facts. So, actually, so that was February 5th that big volume day happened and the stock sold off.
Right.
There's no press release to suggest why that was, but obviously somebody wanted to leave the party in a hurry. Maybe somebody's wife was having a baby and they had to get to the hospital.
Wow. That would be, I can see that happening.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you, there's been a lot of issues. There's a few that have really been stellar. We talk about this. This one, I mean, it looks like they're doing a lot of good things, but maybe it just was there a lot of air built into this industry at the beginning, and now as we become more and more in line with reality, do they get readjusted?
Oh, that's an interesting question.
It's an interesting comment. Oh. What the hell was that?
I don't know. I'm checking my email, but I'm not seeing anything. Anyways, I
think we should play some music or something.
You mean like get out the instruments? I want to say hello to some members of our audience here today. Some of our Raging Rick says Tetra Bio-Pharma today announced that it was temporarily suspending its phase 3 clinical program due to impurities found in its PPP-001 investigational drug.
Is that when the thing fell out of bed?
No, that was today.
Jesus.
Yes.
Well, that's not good news. We didn't bring that up.
Yeah. Faye Smith is asking if, hi Faye, if we think that the regime change in Canada could jeopardize marijuana legalization.
Well, it's already legal.
True, but I think what her point is if the Liberal government of Justin Trudeau was actually forced to recuse itself from governing further through resignation.
I like that word, recuse.
Would it cause a reversal in the progress of Canadian legalization? I don't think so, Faye. Honestly, I don't see that happening right away.
Once you go down a path, it's hard to turn that.
Well, especially a path that's so popular with the electorate. So any incoming government is certainly not going to want to kill the golden goose.
Well, they brought prohibition in the States, remember?
Yeah, but the moral majority is now the moral minority.
I think drinking's still very popular.
Drinking's still very popular, yes, indeed it is. But so is smoking weed, especially in the medical community where opiates have been making addicts and killing their patients at a much higher level than cannabis ever will.
You know, when you look at, like, there's a drug issue. I don't say marijuana. I've smoked a lot of marijuana. I feel like I've, it's probably helped me more in a lot of ways.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I think, well, there's some drugs out there that are a lot more harmful.
Oh, there it is. Yeah.
Yeah?
There is.
What are you looking at?
I'm getting communications here.
From where?
That's all about Tetra Bio-Pharma. We're done with that now. Thank you.
Adios.
Okay, on February 5th, here it is. Tetra Bio-Pharma announced it temporarily. Oh, that was... Okay, so...
It was then.
That was when they suspended their PP001.
And it was moving up.
Okay, great.
But isn't it wild that it was moving up into that news and then they say, well, we're going to fix you guys. We're going to put out some news, all right.
Yeah, well, that's interesting. Okay, anyways, moving right along here. Wanted to have a look at...
I got a question for you.
Okay, lay it on me.
So what would you say has been the best performing stock in the sector that surprises you, like
in the cannabis space?
Like which one would you say was it's like this could never have happened and it did? Like, in other words, what did you say?
Well, I gotta say that no. Well, Kronos was a big surprise, absolutely.
Okay,
but you can't
pick
see.
Pick three.
Yeah, okay, but it's kind of like. You can't see a big event like a Altria writing you a $2.8 billion check. You can't see that on the timeline coming, and that's transformational. So that was a surprise, but nobody saw that coming.
Yeah.
Another one that's actually surprised me how well it's doing. Well, I would say that Heritage Cannabis Holdings has gone from 17 cents to 45 cents in like 4
recently.
Weeks. Yeah. And on no news.
And Clint Sharple's on the show all the time, and like.
Yeah.
Where were we?
No.
Did you get some incentive?
Have I had incentive?
Yeah.
Well, I own a big block of the Privco that they took over. However, the Privco that they took over, Canacure, has not yet been a major contributor in terms of value catalyst to the economic timeline of Heritage Cannabis, nor has the operations, the extraction operations. That being said, Clint's working the institutional crowd. He's on the road all the time working. He told me that there was some major institutional investment coming into the stock, and that would certainly explain a lift like that. But that's incredible. There's like 400 million shares out on that sucker, and it's
it's still around 48 cents.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
well, kudos to them. But so they seem to know what to do, and then you take a company like like Juju, for instance, and a bit of a shit the bed situation.
Yeah, Juju was a disappointment. What else? Well, Chiron coming out of the sleeper, like it was trading sideways for almost 2 years.
Yeah, I think I saw it back down to about 320 today.
Yeah,
but that's still
people taking money off the table when it ran to $4 and they were in at $1.60, $1.80.
Yeah, and I understand there's some bunch of some stock coming free trading here shortly.
Yeah.
That should be, you know, look, they don't go straight, ladies and gentlemen, big news flash here. Stocks don't go in a straight line forever in one direction.
Not forever, but they can do it for a while.
They can do it longer than you think.
Yeah, the market can remain exuberant much longer than you can remain rational.
Solvent.
Rational.
Solvent. You changed it. I know. You're very good at that. You're tricky. Tricky Dicky.
Anyways, I was surprised to see how that Sol Global Investments categorized its loss. You know, so this is Sol Global has taken it on the chin for selling assets up the food chain at an inflated rate. Yet here they report a loss because, and this kind of goes to like why when companies sell an asset for stock, there's a premium built in that is not necessarily representative of the dollar value that the vendor hopes to realize, because this is exactly what happens. These guys did the deal, they sold the project for stock at $19 a share. By the time they could sell it, they were selling it at $7.85 a share.
So you say haircut.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, again, it's this is what happens when
you know, when you see like a big amount of goodwill on the balance sheet, right? Goodwill.
Yeah.
When we took accounting back in the day, you know what the chapter on goodwill was called? The full chapter was called Goodwill and Other Nothings.
And other nothings?
Well, that's what an accountant does. When goodwill is, what the hell's goodwill? You pay, if you're paying in excess of its value, the excess is treated as goodwill, put on the books, and then amortized.
So it's a completely subjective.
Yeah, well, it is. The only thing that is
we can't find a column for this. Put it in the goodwill column. There we go.
Goodwill and other nothings.
And other nothings.
I'm not making this up. Anyway, all my old CA friends that are watching the show, none of them.
Why not? I'd be your biggest fan if I went to school with you. I'd be like, look at him.
Yeah, look at that. Look at
this guy. He's not
bad guy made good. Finally,
he's not running an abacus in his old age. He's a star of the most vibrant cannabis investment hour in global TV.
Yeah. So, you know, there's lots of stuff going on. I'd say,
you know what's coming to trade next week? Pump.
Really?
Worldwide extracts.
No kidding.
No kidding. Although nobody's got their cert yet. That's one tactic.
That'll keep it nice and tight.
Yeah.
Keep that float tight.
Well, now, I bet you not everybody didn't get their cert.
You mean, I bet you if you're somehow close to the office where their certs are printed,
or in the office,
you may get your cert. But if you have to, you know, they probably use Stagecoach to deliver them.
Best gainers on the TSX Venture today.
Okay, well, tell me. Give me one.
Well, Partners Value Investment Trust Fund, Partners Value Investment Fund, tacked on 75 cents. How is that? Oh, okay. Oh, dollar gainers. How is that significant? Okay, so that's how sideways the market was today. That's the big gainer on the TSX Venture.
Yeah.
On the CSC, the biggest gainer was the Delma Group, up 55 cents or 36% on volume of 2,093 shares.
That guy's happy.
Boy, there's a big move. Yeah.
Whew.
Sell it now. You should sell it now.
Yeah.
Vigogo, remember Vigogo? Back in the mix at 339, up 38 cents on the day. What's going on there?
What's the volume there?
301 shares.
Ooh. Okay, now I see one there, 2.111427.
True Leaf.
It's amazing I can read that from here, isn't it?
It is kind of amazing.
Yeah.
They put on 20 cents today, closed up at 61 cents.
That's 50%.
Yeah. 2.1 million shares. That's a real move.
That's a real move.
That's a real move.
Yeah, you gotta have
Valens
volume.
GroWorks. Look at the Valens above 314, up another 16 cents. Let's pull up a chart of Valens GroWorks, VGW. That thing's been on fire lately, and this is one that's kind of bucking the trend of the trend is averaging sideways with a slight rise still, yet the plane is sort of leveling. Valens Grow seems to be one of those companies that's bucking the trend and is still in a pretty strong value appreciation incline.
Okay. So look. So let's get this little baby up here. I got the chart.
Hit it. Whoa,
no, wait
sticky notes.
No, I don't want sticky notes.
You got sticky notes.
Sticky nodes.
Sticky nodes. That's when you're even the insides of your nodes are stuck together, and that you're not going to get talked like.
Look at that. This is a classic. Look at this. Look at this speculative or this run up.
Yeah.
Very exponential, and then digestion, and now a little slower, but again, right back here. There's your resistance. There's your resistance.
Yeah, but it looks like it's going to go. It's gone right through the last resistance.
No,
look, it's higher.
Well, look at the red.
Yeah, what's that red candle?
Okay,
what's that number?
What we get? What is this sticky? I don't want sticky notes.
Yeah, complain to somebody. Write your congressman. Well, what's going on there?
Okay, 3 months.
It's going sideways.
3 months. Let's go 6 months. I want to get that. Okay, so we went above it, but the candle is red, so it went into new territory, came back. Okay, so suggesting a bit of a double top, not for sure, because then we did break down a little bit yesterday. This is yesterday, another red candle, and today we get a nice green candle. Now, if it can build from here and keep that channel intact, yeah, I think if it can close above this, then we got some major action. That's so there you go.
That's just amazing.
What's the market cap of this thing? How many shares are in this?
I don't know. Nobody knows.
Somebody knows. Bo knows.
Valens GroWorks, number of shares outstanding. Let's see.
I got it right here.
All right, let me know.
You just sit back.
Help a brother out, Ed.
Well, about 90. This says about 90 million, 95 million.
95 million.
So that's capped at 270.
Okay.
That's a big number. Quarter bill.
Yeah.
Quarter B, as they say.
I know some guys who are doing backflips about that.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it looks good, but I again, this whole thing with the last couple months, we've had a real run in the market. I got to think we need a little bit of a pause. But everybody keeps saying, as the first month or two of the year goes, so goes the rest of the year. So
that's bullshit.
I
mean, come on. Especially in the cannabis space, the first quarter is always strong, second quarter is weak, and then it drifts through the summer, pending sector-wide catalyst.
But I'm talking about the S&P generally.
Oh, the S&P.
The S&P, when they say as January goes, the rest of the year goes.
Really?
That's what they say.
So, but January is going like this.
We're already into March. What are you talking about?
Well, I mean, but the start of that was in January.
January was
straight up. None of this.
The only look at. I'll show you. I got to find the right glasses to show you. I like this SPX. Here we go.
Is Todd ready? All right. I'm going to talk to Todd Harrison right now from CB1 Capital in New York State. Hey, Todd, how are you? Oh, wait.
Hey, how are you, Craig?
Hey, Todd, how you doing?
I got to lower myself and put our heads at the same level. Put our heads together. Oh, no, it's the other way. Oh, there we go. How are you doing?
How are you? I'm good. Happy Friday.
Yeah, same to you. Everybody on our chat group has been asking us to ask you about TGIF, 1933 Industries.
Okay, sure. So, 1933 is a company that we own a big slug of stock. We've owned the stock for some time. Largely because we just think it's real attractive. Their brands are great, Canna Hemp, and certainly we think the stock is attractive. That's why we own a lot of it. And in working with the company, we identified some synergies that would allow us to advise them and help them through some strategic relationships. And certainly, we couldn't be happier. We're big fans of the company. We're big fans of the team, and so far so good. It's a good alliance for us, and we think it's going to work out well for everybody.
Sure. So the team that launched 1933 Industries recently launched a company called Weekend Unlimited, which won the symbol POT. Are you invested in that company as well?
No, not right now. 1933 is our vehicle, and certainly we're working with them on a range of different initiatives right now. So it doesn't preclude anything in the future, but right now that's what it is.
Sure. 1933 Industries is focused primarily on U.S. markets, correct?
Their hemp brands are certainly focused on the U.S. markets. They have a pretty good operation in Nevada, which was actually what initially attracted us to them. The Nevada market is pretty robust, and their brands are doing real well out there. So, one of the things that we look for at CB1, and we've been doing this for some time now, is because Wall Street doesn't have a presence, in the space yet. There's a lot of inefficiencies, certainly that exist that wouldn't otherwise exist if Wall Street had a more ubiquitous presence, as we believe they will in the years to come, if not the months to come. So certainly we think that as Wall Street adopts, institutions do the work and run the numbers, a lot of these inefficiencies will self-correct over the course of the next, call it 6 months to a year.
Sure. Are you seeing more interest in the U.S. companies that are trading on the CSE as we come to sort of like the end of Q1? I've seen a lot of sort of sideways trading in the U.S. names that are trading on the CSE. Why do you think that is?
Well, they've had pretty massive runs. I remember you and I were talking right at the beginning of the year when it felt like the world was falling apart, and we made the comment that last year it felt terrific entering the year, and it turned out to be a pretty terrible year for the space. And this year it felt pretty terrible coming in, and thus far it's turned out to be a pretty good year in the last 2 months. But certainly, one of the things, James, that we think about a lot, and I've been in the markets for 30 years, is really trying to identify asymmetrical risk, asymmetrical opportunities, asymmetrical risk reward in the marketplace. And as we look at the cannabis space and understanding really as a context that, of the 750 companies out there, most of them probably aren't going to make it, right? But the ones that do are going to have pretty generational opportunities. And, as we look at the asymmetric risk, we like to frame it through the lens of 4 drivers, and that's really time versus policy, right? We believe this is efficacious. We believe that, listen, the endocannabinoid system, which helps to regulate neurotransmissions, wasn't even discovered until 1992, and certainly the parallels between the plant and the person are widely unknown. So all of that's going to come through the clinical trials. That's going to take time, but that presents an opportunity, as does the arbitrage of price, as we see it, particularly in the U.S. names, the ability for banking reform to come through, which we do think is going to be a 2019 story. But that's going to open up these companies to access debt financing. It's going to allow a lot of the institutions to participate in the space and articulate that strategy through publicly traded securities. And then finally, the arbitrage of perception. It's not about getting well, it's about getting high. I don't think we need to get into that. We've talked about that every time I've been on. And finally, the arbitrage of liquidity, which is the 4th one. And people look at the $300 billion cannabis global cash crop each year and say that's the total addressable market. We like to look at cannabis and hemp as ingredients, and we think if you look at that and contemplate the optionality and all the end cases, the end products and use cases that we think this is going to go into, we think this is a $2 trillion market cap in a decade versus rough justice $100 billion now. So again, you look for asymmetrical risk in the marketplace, and we think we're right there with cannabis and hemp.
That's a cool approach. A lot of the companies in the U.S. are basing their growth strategy on one of acquisition of premium opportunities in the cannabis production space and in the consumer packaged goods space. But the federal prohibition kind of forces the U.S. into a fractured set of markets where it's impossible for any one brand to sort of become clearly ascendant, like say a Victoria's Secret would or a DKNY would. So I'm wondering, it must be one challenging piece of work to try to figure out which brands are going to be able to navigate that fractured marketplace while the federal government, moves. Obviously, it's moving towards federal deprohibition. Nobody can really say when that's going to happen yet. But so how do you sort of decide which companies are like the better bets for staying the long course, looking for that asymmetrical risk-reward return scenario?
Yeah, it's a great question. Obviously, it's the artificial impediments to a natural business cycle that have created the asymmetric opportunities, and that comes with a cost, right? I mean, the cost is really the fractured market you talk about, the shenanigans of listing up in Canada for U.S. operators and the like. But at this point, and it's a great point. It's hard to extrapolate sort of what the brands are. We're looking for things like management integrity, right? We put a high premium on the jockeys versus the horse, and really look for teams that we think have a pretty strong moral compass, but also have a good head on their shoulders with regard to the strategy. That's one element. Footprint is another. Certainly, our MSOs, we have representation in most every state that this is either medically legal or recreationally or adult use legal, and certainly in the states that are starting to flip on the eastern seaboard. And then you have to make a bet on those. Some companies, and Green Growth comes to mind, which we don't own right now. But some companies are really approaching this, which is very interesting, and saying we have the distribution, and now we're going to backfill the brands into that. So that's another strategy. But all in all, it's trying to work with what we have and piece together, what we think are a pretty good portfolio of companies that have, that have a good footprint, good management team, and have executed, right? So we're entering the phase where their premium is going to be on execution, and I think that's where we're going to see a lot of these companies sort of delineate from one another.
Sure. Okay, so Todd, what kind of time horizon are you talking about in your sort of in your mindset, in your strategic sort of approach? It strikes me that from what I'm hearing, it's like you're taking like a 3 to 5 year look from where you're going to start to harvest your investments. Is that more or less where your guys' heads are at?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Now, keep in mind, Wall Street has to adopt, institutions have to adapt, and again, when we talk about those arbitrages, time, price, perception, and liquidity, there's a process, right? The efficacy-driven solutions, that's going to take time to come through the pipe. All part of the sort of the general awareness. And if you look at sort of I've been trading for 30 years, and it's my opinion that all market phases have, all market moves have 3 phases: denial, migration, and panic. And I think we're in the denial phase right now. Federally illegal. Most people still think of Cheech and Chong as opposed to wellness. I think that first cusp is coming, though. I think it's going to be triggered by banking. And once institutions enter the fray, you'll see a genuine migration. And then, I think the current naysayers and the people who really think this is the devil's weed, they'll turn buyer in 2022, 2023 when Goldman makes this the #1 pick. And that's probably where you want to, make some sales. But yeah, 3 to 5 years sounds about right. Not to say that it's not going to be opportunities with a shorter time horizon. We have some trades, we have some investments, mostly investments, but certainly I think this is a longer tail secular bull market. We've been saying it for a couple of years. I still think we're in the early stages.
You bet. All right, Todd, great input as usual. Really appreciate it. We'll leave it there for now. We'll come back to you in due course. Thanks for joining us on this Friday afternoon.
Yep, thank you. Thank you. Have a good weekend.
You bet. Always interesting to hear Todd's perspective, because he comes at it from such a institutional, high-level sort of Wall Street kind of approach. Whereas here you and I are sitting in the trenches like a couple of pistoleros.
Lowbrow.
Highbrow, lowbrow.
And exactly. I mean, not to be...
If we didn't have guys like him on, we'd just be a couple of rubes.
A couple of brows.
But at least we have the ability to attract people much smarter than ourselves.
Highbrow as opposed to eyebrow.
And bloopers as opposed to...
Loopers.
Loopers. What about batters?
Bladders.
Bladders. Oh, gosh.
Okay.
So the audience is having quite the conversation here about Namaste. And,
Is Namaste getting a bid? Is Namaste
done? That's what people are asking. And, I think if I was to be a voice of reason in the hysteria of the internet,
and since you're on the wagon for 8 days, you could be a voice of reason.
I might be the voice of reason.
You know what? Wouldn't that be something?
But I think that Namaste, you got to give the new management guys a chance. You got to give them at least 3 months to come out with a strategy, and I don't think you can count Namaste out. In fact, if it's selling off, might be a good point to accumulate if you're a believer in the new management team. And I think that there's no reason not to be in the current climate because they're obviously incentivized to give it a shot.
One of the things that I think, I'm going to say the marijuana space is acting like a bubble. Not that it's going to end badly for everybody, because it won't, because it's a
What do you mean like a bubble?
Well, like things happened very quickly. Like the valuations exploded.
Yes.
And so that may make people, it may give them false ideas of what to expect. In other words, just because we had a couple of years where very, very significant gains were made doesn't mean that's going to continue.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like so maybe the previous action is, got people revved up for greater expectations.
Yeah, well, I think that the one thing the cannabis industry has taught us now 3 years in a row, just when it looks like the bloom has come off the rose, that's probably when it's setting up for the next big lift to the upside.
There's no question.
You got to ask yourself, are there still big catalysts like $2.8 billion check from Altria to Kronos?
Sure.
$5 billion check from Constellation to Canopy. Look, there's still Aurora sitting out there.
Yeah.
This prime plum of an asset.
Let me ask you this, James. Like, for instance, as more and more companies come in and more countries come in, where's the tipping point where the industry is, the valuation of the total companies involved get to the point where
it's crazy?
Enough's enough.
Well, when the dot-com bubble blew up, they estimate that $5 trillion of value had been created in the space.
$5 trillion.
$5 trillion.
Where are we at now in this space?
Well, arguably, we're still well below we're well below a quarter of a trillion, like $250 billion worth if you combine the market caps of all the assets out there in the world.
So the dot-com thing was 40 times bigger.
Yeah, before it got shaky.
So that's like 1 ounce of alcohol compared to a 40 ouncer.
Right. Yes.
I like to bring it back to something I can relate to.
Right. Well, that's.
But you can't relate to that anymore.
No, I can't. I think it's like a little cup of tea relative to a full teapot.
Yeah. So if I was sitting here and I had a bottle, I'd be going shaking it at you. Would it make you nervous?
Would you kidding? I'd get all indignant and be like, "What are you, a drunk or something? Put that damn shit away."
You remember when I had that short stint on the wagon and everybody was trying to like
No, I don't remember that. You were on the wagon? When was that?
What?
I've never seen.
Donnie, come on, Donnie kept trying to feed me booze.
Donnie kept trying to feed you booze.
Now he's on the wagon.
Yeah.
And why is everybody going on the wagon?
Because it's time to go on the wagon. Get ready for summer, Ed. Okay. Clean up the old filtration system so that you're good to go come barbecue season. Which, apparently, according to the Globe and Mail,
I'm looking forward
is going to be in exactly 3 weeks.
You know, it wasn't that long ago.
Yes.
We were sitting on your balcony.
Yes.
And it was in the fall.
Yeah.
Enjoying a nice bottle of wine. Fruit of the vine. When you gonna?
Yeah.
Okay. But, market's closed. We got a few.
Yeah, it's been quite a while that the market's been closed. Here's what's happening. I think here's the macro pattern that I'm gonna go out on a limb here.
Macro pattern. I want to hear it.
Macro pattern.
And I'll give you my macro pattern.
If we look at the last 3 years charts in the cannabis space.
Yes.
They have all been characterized by a very strong first quarter. All the value comes on in the first quarter in the last 3 years. By the end of the second quarter, they're starting to look like there's nothing further going to happen, no further value. Then they start to go sideways going into the summer. Why? Because all of the cannabis entrepreneurs took money off the table in the second quarter after the rise in the first quarter. So then summer comes, all the entrepreneurs have money in their jeans, they go off to the lake, and they don't want anything to happen in the summer, so there's no catalyst coming in the summer, because they're all at the lake spending their money and popping champagne corks. And then, when it's time to come back to work, September after Labor Day, it's like leading into that. You know, that's when we saw the big deal with Constellation and Canopy happen. That's when the first time Constellation kicked in. Actually, no, the first time was in January, but details. Never let the truth get in the way of a good story. But, you know.
I've got I put up a 3-year chart of canopy growth.
All right, let's see.
Because, you know, you just a 3-year chart.
Wow.
So, you know, and again, I missed, and I'm a pot smoker, and I missed a lot of this action.
Yeah.
But look at, there was a bit of a top there, and that top, let's say, was there, and maybe that was a couple of months. Another big top here, a couple of months, and then, you know, it had to digest it. And it looked like, I remember when we were doing the show back in here, it looked to me like this is breaking out, and it was a false breakout.
Where?
Right here.
Where? Okay.
And it pulled back, and I thought that was it. And to
wasn't that legalization right there?
And then, oh, that was legalization.
Yeah. So there was a run up to the day of legalization and the sell off because the market's trying to be clever and sell off, be 6 months ahead.
Yeah.
And then what happened?
All hell broke loose.
And then the whole market put on another 30% in value.
No, legalization was in here.
October 17th.
Right in here. Yeah.
Nothing's happening there. Oh, okay. Up there.
That was
legalization?
Yeah.
That's October 17th?
No, here it is. It's over here. No. There it is. And then that's when we had the wicked drop. And that's when I thought it can't recover. And like a phoenix rising from the ashes.
And there we go again.
Okay, so here's what my big concern would be to say, temper your enthusiasm, viewers. If this can't get higher than here, then we got a major high, and then we got another major high, but this high is lower than this. Is that the beginning of a descending? And I'm just throwing it out there because all these are higher, and now we've got big consolidation that's lower than the previous one. Do you see that?
Nope.
Like that? See that?
Yep.
I should have been an artist, I think.
I think you are an artist, Ed. You're artistic. I mean, autistic.
Although, could you shut off those lights? They're bothering me.
Can you count backwards? I mean, can
I count?
Recite the alphabet backwards as fast as you can.
Yep. Z.
Guess what's coming up next weekend?
X, W, V.
You know who's here next week?
Who?
First of all, guess who's going to be our guest host along with you for the rest of the week? Probably Howard Glassman, Humble Howard from Humble and Fred.
Really?
HumbleandFred.com.
Really?
Yes, and Ben is going to be here also one day.
One day.
One day over the ocean of learns
I think it's over the mountain. Okay.
Right. Robert Cheney's going to be here from C21 Investments, Inc. That's Monday. I got an interview with Robert Cheney. Robert Galarza is going to be here from Blockstrain Technology. We've had him here before.
Yeah.
Jamie Blundell is going to be here from Canopy Growth Opportunity Fund. Cannabis Growth Opportunity Fund, that is, not Canopy Growth Opportunity Fund. Nice try, though. And then Prad Seeker is going to be here from CB2 Insights. Mario Fonseca from, what was that law firm that got toasted in Panama? The Panama Papers, Fonseca, and no, it's not that Mario Fonseca. It's Mario Fonseca from Goldplay Exploration.
Yeah. And there's going to be a number
of... Is Goldplay Exploration, that's not the... no, that's Goldspot. I'm confusing them. And then there's a... and then Michael Byron is going to be here from Nighthawk Gold, part of our PDAC week coverage.
I've got a few PDAC that aren't on there. There'll be little surprises.
Oh, yeah?
But you won't be here, so...
Yeah.
There'll be real surprises.
They'll
be all right.
Yeah. Cool. So that's next week. And what else is happening? Oh, did you know, Ed? Did you know?
No.
Did you know that cannabis edibles are going to be legal on October 17th in Canada?
October 17th?
Yeah.
2019.
Yeah.
I know that.
You do?
I know that, except what if Trudeau's
so what kind of, where's the action? Where's the, what chart action can we look at and say that's because edibles are going to be legal on October 17th? Is there any?
Well, who's the leader in the edible field? Edible Edible.
Edible. Special edible. Who's the leader in the edibles field? Well, I would have to say that that's probably Tilray at this point, because Tilray just acquired the company that has hemp brands. What the hell is that called again?
Hemp brands.
Yeah, no, what was the largest producer of hemp foods in the world? Tilray Hemp Foods. I can't believe I don't have that information here, but you did just. Oh yeah, Manitoba Harvest, the world's largest hemp foods company. So arguably in the edibles department, Tilray is the clear leader, but we know that both Aurora and Canopy Growth are making moves towards major hemp operations. And then there's like a ton of hemp companies that are just popping up that are going to be not trying to recreate the wheel necessarily, but certainly trying to cut and paste what Manitoba Harvest has done, though Manitoba Harvest has such a big market share. Tilray bought that company for $318 million.
Some of these amounts are so staggering.
Yes.
You know, I don't know. I can't imagine having $300 million.
Let me ask you this, Ed. Where do our bloopers start and when do they begin? Where do they end? Where do they begin? Where do they end?
Where do they begin? They begin when the show starts, and they end when the show stops.
So we should end with bloopers?
Yes.
Okay. Good afternoon, you bastards.
Look, it's been
Old MacDonald had a farm, A-I-A-I-O, and on this farm he discovered a massive copper deposit that was BMS, spanned 45,000 square kilometers and was worth $20 billion. A-I-A-I-O.
Pig shit. I'm not, God, please speak again. Your level of knowledge in this sector is second to none. No, wait, Jesus. I had this luncheon on Monday with some people that were major shareholders of Chiron.
Yes.
And they said blah, 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 and I said, Yeah.
Have you been to the Midas Letter website lately?
Nope. I'm the big boy.
You, the big man.
I'm the big boy. Full disclosure. Set up. Okay.
Okay, I'm going to pull up a chart of what were we just talking about?
Yeah. You go ahead and pull up that chart. You feel free. You can pull up any chart.
Oh, your heart's not in it.
Yeah, you know what?
Damn.
I'm a dinosaur, all right.
Unbelievable. Arena Minerals.
I was sleeping at the switch.
Wow, that's remarkable.
What's more expensive, beer nuts or deer nuts?
Beer nuts.
Yeah, because deer nuts are under $1.
Are beer nuts under $1 too?
Ticker is Jesus. Now let me take some high pills.
Wow! Look at you. We're going to take off all of our clothes and gross you right out. You have the ability to move things with your mind?
Yep. Watch, I'll show you an example.
Okay, let's see.
Okay, watch this. Keep your eye on the screen. There you go. There you go.
That's
see, look,
hilarious.
See, just look at.
Hey, everybody, welcome back.
Sign said. Blah, 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 blah. Eddie Mercury.
Freddie Mercury. Eddie Mercury. That could be you. Hey, let's hear you sing Bohemian Rhapsody.
We are the champions. You and I.